Hi, my name is AJ Nelson, PGA member at Swing Essentials, and this is your golf lesson on putting today. We're going to go over three things. We're going to go over setup, we're going to go over line, how to see the line, and then we're going to go over speed. So those three fundamental things are really the key to good putting. So the first thing that we have to do is notice that these two clubs look like a railroad. A railroad is a very good image to really see how to putt. If you can imagine, when you set up to putt, you really want to ensure that your feet are on the left track, and then the club and the ball are really the right track. So if I move the club here, and I move the club here, okay, you'll notice that the club is pointed towards the hole, and my body is pointed towards the left. What we see a lot of folks do, and this is where they get in trouble, and it carries throughout the whole bag, drivers, irons, is they line themselves up to the hole and then the golf ball, and they wonder why they miss it right, both on the golf ball, on the putting green, and on the driving range, on the tee box, and hitting wedges into greens. So again, a lot of the same things on why we miss putts happen when we miss irons, wedges, and drivers. So we always want to make sure that we roll putts. So if I go ahead and I take this golf ball and I roll it to you, right? I'm rolling that golf ball, and I'm rolling it, and when I release the golf ball, it's not behind me, right? Same thing with putting. We want to make sure that the golf ball is in the forward part of our stance so that we come up to meet the golf ball. If the golf ball is in the back of the stance, we're going to hit down on it, it's going to bump, right? We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that that is in the front of the stance so we come up to meet it. Second thing that I see after incorrect alignment and incorrect setup is I see folks are really too far away from the golf ball. Now, created as humans with our eyes, we're biologically challenged to putt. So for instance, in our eyes, they're made up of two things, rods and cones, none of which help us out at all because they're both round. A lot of folks don't fire a bow and arrow like this. You sure don't shoot a gun like this. You do it like this. Pull that bow and arrow back. But we don't do that with golf, right? We have to stand perpendicular to it. So the more we get the eyes over the golf ball, the more we can start to see our line, our straight line, because we're more over it. If we're too far away from that golf ball, we get stuck. That line starts to curve because our eyes are round, and everything that makes up our eyes are round. We want to make sure that we get our eyes over the golf ball. So a good setup for phase one is to ensure that our feet are lined up a little bit left of the hole. That will ensure that our putter is lined up at the hole. We want that golf ball to be in the front of our stance, more toward our front foot, and then we want the eye to be over the golf ball. And that leaves us to the grip. It's the only thing that really connects us to the putter. We want to make sure that all 10 fingers are on that putter. Now, you can putt this way. You can putt left hand low. You can go interlock, baseball, but there's two things that most folks do. Both thumbs are on the top of the grip. Why is that important? Is because we don't want to be wristy. Look at the face of the club. Boy, that takes a lot of hand-eye coordination to square that face. If you go ahead and you take your elbows and you just let them rest on your side and you simply move your shoulders, you can see this pendulum motion doesn't move the face that much. Boy, that's a lot easier than this. And it makes golf a lot easier. So if you can simply rotate your shoulders, your core, notice the lower body doesn't quite move, it's a really good putting stroke. So if you can go ahead and let those elbows rest on your sides and really move that putter back and forth, you're going to putt better. So let's see how we do. We go ahead and line up properly. The golf ball is going towards the hole, and my feet are going to the left of it. Our eyes are right over the golf ball, and then we make a simple stroke with the big muscles. Make sure that the lower body doesn't move too much. That was a really good putt, which moves us on to the second thing that we're going to talk about, which is speed. Speed is the most important thing. Even if you have a good setup and you have a good line, line is where you aim the golf ball, speed is the most important part. So if we have the same tempo, how do we change the speed? Well, the putter will get a little bit longer with each putt. But the stroke tempo, how long it makes the stroke, it takes the stroke for you to finish from start to finish, will stay the same. So, a little bit longer of a putt, a little bit longer of a stroke. Shorter putt, shorter timed stroke, right? So we want to make sure that speed is calibrated by really the length of your stroke. Shorter putt, shorter stroke. Longer putts, longer stroke. But the time it takes you to swing should be the same. Now, let's go ahead and talk about really the third part of putting, and that is the break. The break is really, really, really important because the break is how much the putt curves. So if you were to imagine right now that it starts raining really hard, skies open up, buckets of water come down, which way do you think that the water would flow? I would argue it would probably flow from here down here to the left. So if I go ahead and I make a putt, let's see which way it ends up curving. And you can see it curves to the right. And that is really what we want to focus on when we go ahead and we make a putt. Which way is it curving? So we've got a good setup. Check. Okay? We know how fast to hit it, right? How long of a putter stroke do we need to get the correct speed? That's number 2. And then the third is the line. Where is the line and where is it breaking? Now, let's talk about that third factor, right? That's the third cornerstone of good putting, because the third factor is one of the most important because it takes the first two, and that line should always be the straight putt. You should never be looking to curve your golf ball because you can't do that on the green. It needs to be airborne to do that. So we always need to know where the straight putt is. So most golf balls have lines, and this certainly helps. You can take this line and you can line that line on the golf ball up to your target. Make sure to come from behind the golf ball because that's the only way we're going to see a straight line. Once you take your setup, go ahead and take your setup, and again, golf ball's in the front of the stance. Eyes are over the golf ball. We've got a good grip, and then we're going to rock our shoulders back and forth. That line, what I'm aiming at, is not necessarily the hole. Where is the straight putt? Well, the straight putt is right there, and that is my aim. You should always be aiming for the straight putt. If you aim for the straight putt, you're relying on that curve or that break to move it into the golf hole. So we go ahead and we line up, have a golf ball in the front of the stance, eyes over. When you look at the golf ball, you're not looking for the line, you're looking for speed. How far do I have to hit this? And then your eyes are over that golf ball so you can make a good stroke. And if you make a good stroke and you've got the right speed and you've got the right line, those are a lot of things that can help you. So let's move on. How do I practice this at home? Well, let's go ahead and look at setup. If I've got a good setup to the golf ball, I can easily check myself. How do I check myself? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up. I'm going to take 2 golf balls, and the second golf ball I'm going to drop from my lead eye. And notice I wasn't close enough to that golf ball because it dropped inside. that golf ball needs to be dropped so that it hits that second golf ball. That way you know that you're right over that golf ball and you're ready to make a nice pendulum putt exactly where you need to go. Okay. Another drill you can do is a football drill. As we approach football season, this should look pretty familiar to you. The end zone, the 10-yard line, the 20-yard line. And this is a good way to practice speed. So your first putt should stay in the end zone. Your second putt should go between the 10 and the 20. And the third putt should get to half field. By you doing this step ladder drill, or as I call it, the football drill, that allows you to learn very quickly the speed of the greens. Once you've done it once, and you're familiar with it and you feel confident, go the other way. Start going to half field. Then bring it back to the 10 and the 20. And then your third shot should be in the end zone. It's a great drill, great step ladder drill for us to really get our speed down. Okay? And lastly, what about the line? Well, what I like to do is I like to take clubs and I like to visualize it. So I'll take a club here. And I'll take another club here. And I want to see where my line is. Okay? I'm producing really that left railroad track that we talked about to begin with. And then I'm trying to putt along my railroad track. And if I can do that, hopefully, almost made it. So thanks for joining us today. That's our putting clinic. We hope you've enjoyed yourself and we hope to see you back soon. Keep uploading those videos on Swing Essentials and we'll see you next time.